Christine, welcome to Spark TV.
Thank you, Danielle. It's an absolute pleasure. And I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing. And more power to us.
Yes, definitely. What a great way to start. I love that. No, thank you for being here. Let's kick things off by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Okay, Christine Matheson-Green. You can join me, please do, on Facebook or LinkedIn. And at the moment, I'm a non-tech founder of a startup.
What a great place to be. I
Oh,
love it.
well, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Which I'm sure we'll dive into because I totally agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, so good. So what does your startup do, Christine?
Okay, it's called Remember Press, and I'll give you the why because the
Mm,
backstory is what drove me to this. I write, I've been at all sorts of things throughout I've had a huge life. A lot of that was a journalist and newspaper editor in chief, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, so I was hired by Julie, who is a Tassie's top diamond expert. Incredible lady. We've become really good friends, and she travels all over the world, to Antwerp and South Africa and everything, checking out
mm.
diamonds. And she hired me to write her dad's memoirs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And her dad, Daryl, was like he was 86 and living in the house he was born in, only in Tassie, he was saying, which I thought was
That's hilarious. Well,
hilarious.
no, it's funny. My parents currently live in the house that my mum grew up in. So I was like, there you go. I know someone that does that as well.
There you go. My God. It is so rare now, though, isn't it? Because
Mm,
we all shift
mm,
around so much. But
totally.
anyway, and he was depressed. Daryl was depressed. And Julie really was dying of emphysema, um,
Wow.
but had had a huge life. And he had been sort of a similar ilk to me, I guess, like instead of saying why not? And he was very humble. He started out as a wood turner, hence the emphysema, and became a builder and built hotels and all sorts of things. He could
Wow.
do any sort of mathematical equation in his brain. Extremely clever man, but not
Mm,
educated at all,
mm.
And at first he was harumph. Why do you want to record my story? you know of course,
Yeah.
because they're brought up to be humble
Mm,
and not to push their barrow, especially that generation. And the journey of doing this, and it took over a year actually of my
mm.
working with him, not every week, but a lot of the time, couple of hours at a time. He's honestly his increase in mental health and well-being was extraordinary.
Really?
Yeah, he went from here to here, like go to
Wow.
go. And he got the whole family involved. And the family became euphoric. And Daryl had motivation and validation and elevation. He just
Mm,
felt validated and
mm.
he had a euphoric final year. He really
Wow.
did. And I put both my parents in nursing homes.
Mm,
I think I'd love to see young people suddenly come to grips with the fact that if you're very lucky, you'll get old. But look at
mm,
what's facing you. And to me, it's awful. Like you get stuck in a room in a bed to die.
mm.
And it's so challenging for the families as well. And so I thought, I know the publishing industry. I started out as PR manager at Jacaranda Press, 1969. Yeah, and I used
Mm.
to launch books, and so I got to know authors and the publishing industry. And I've self-published. I've been headhunted by Oxford University Press. They've published 3 of my literacy textbooks. And I suddenly thought, I know the publishing industry. It's in the
Mm.
dark ages. It seriously is, still, and it's difficult. Even Amazon and whatever, you have to make all these decisions, and there's this bumpy road that you have to go along to publish a bloody book. And I thought,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to do a better, streamlined, easier way. So that's what Remember Press is. And apropos that, developing that, and working with clients, I got to realize that they actually really need um, a book writing coaching course that's a bit different as well. And
Yeah.
as you would know now, I'm different.
I love it. I love it already. Yes.
And so I wrote the busy page, and that's out there now. That's a 6 workbook, 6 video book writing course, and it's funny. It's it's outrageous. I use a lot of really outrageous images to sort of
Mm,
really click and nudge
mm,
my students and my clients, and so that's what the busy page is. And I'm also running a high-end platinum part of the program, which is very, very small groups and one-on-ones,
mm.
and to get people. And it's people like us, business
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
you, Danielle, and the members of Spark who have businesses, who
Mm,
actually understand the incredible platform that you get from publishing your own book. If you have a look at Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi,
mm,
they
mm.
publish a book every year, minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
They keep going because it sets them apart. It gives them
Yes.
this authenticity and
Mm.
authority. I mean, there's a reason why it's author and authority, isn't it? Really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and I was just going to say there's something so crazy about books in this Instagram world that we live in where everything's just no attention span, just scroll past, scroll past. When someone has a book, you're like, "Oh, they must be important. They must have something to say."
Exactly,
Mm,
exactly. And it's one of the things, on Facebook, I've been making little tiny short videos with nudges and prompts and
mm.
advice on how to get moving and ideas about writing and what to do, what to focus on. Because, imposter syndrome's enormous. We all face it. I
Oh
face it.
yeah.
You'd think I'd be the most, confident person on earth. I'm not at all, like
I
you.
don't believe you.
No, no. Scratch the surface, and imposter syndrome is riding its horse.
Yeah. But it is difficult, isn't it? I mean, I have a book that I've started. So I have a very short book, like a book of quotes that I've published on Amazon. But I don't consider that a real book because it's not kind of novelish. But I'm
Yeah,
sitting on a novel. I've started it and I can't, and I know everyone struggles with this, the writing process, the
yeah,
getting this stuff out of your brain and onto paper. And you're so right. There's some kind of resistance that happens when you sit down in front of your laptop and you've got to focus and get the things out.
exactly. And I mean, look, honestly, I'm going to send you my first workbook because
Oh,
it'll
cool.
blow you away. It sets everything. It gives you schedules,
Mm,
and it really gets you moving. And from then on, it's just an incredible fun ride, where you set up this program and a plan. Because with the old saying, I mean, the chestnut, those who
yes.
don't plan to fail, like.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
It's
it's and it
true.
yeah, and it is so true. And people forget about that with writing. They
Mm.
honestly think they've got to just sit down and bash out something like J.K.
Yeah,
Rowling.
like hundreds of pages. I'm just going to sit down, pour a strong coffee,
Yeah,
and it will all happen.
yeah, no, absolutely not. So that's what my busy page book writing course does.
I
You know, it
love that.
Yeah, and it is
Mm,
amazing. It's the feedback I've had is just incredible. So yeah, because it really does. It takes you on this journey, but it gives
mm,
you the bloody ladder to get
mm,
there. And
mm.
one of the videos I made, I actually went and sat in the passenger seat of my car and I said, "Here I am. I am the co-driver, the
Mm,
navigator, the
mhm,
passenger, but you are the driver." And I
mm.
never forget that. Don't you ever forget that, because it's your work. That's
Yeah.
really important to remember. And I showed this empty seat.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I had a fantastic reaction to that because,
Mm.
like, people don't normally do that sort of thing,
No,
it's
well, we're all usually just in front of a plain background with a greenhouse plant, you know?
and I've been posting a lot of videos walking on the beach because and
Mm,
using, like beach scenes as nudges and prompts for ideas and tips,
yes.
so it's been a lot of fun. Mind you, I'm very lucky I'm in Hobart and I'm on the eastern
It's
shore.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, and the best beach in Hobart is at the end of my street,
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah,
well, you've got to use what you can, right?
absolutely.
I love it. So we have the course, the Busy Book course,
Yeah,
and
busy.
then you do,
Yeah,
sorry, Busy Pages, sorry.
page. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have the course, then people can kind of upgrade and get more of a one-on-one mentoring from you as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, which is the platinum program because and later this year I'll be doing a retreat in
Oh,
Bali.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
because well, it's a way of everyone getting away and getting that huge kickstart.
Yes.
That's what in like 5 days, they're not going to finish a book normally unless they've got it
Mm,
sort of mostly written or whatever,
mm,
which is fine. But it will galvanize all the information and in groups as well. Even like my platinum course is a maximum group of 5.
yep.
Because I love having other people there, and
Yeah.
other members of that little tiny community come up with
Mm.
ideas that I don't. I'm not the well of everything. And, well, I'm not, and I
Mm.
and I and I really you'll love this. And in my one of my workbooks, I write about Mark Twain, who that wasn't his real name, at
I
all.
did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Twain actually meant the second mark on a measure in the sea from boats. Yeah,
What?
yeah. The second
Wow.
Mark Twain. How's
Oh,
that?
right.
How's that?
That's
Anyway,
hilarious. And
yeah.
how often is Mark Twain quoted everywhere?
Oh, I know. But do you know what
Mm.
he used to do? One of his ways of testing out what he wrote, he used to read his latest writings to his
Mm.
family. Right? He'd sit them down in the lounge
Mm.
and he'd start reading. And he noticed if they leaned forward
Mm.
and were really riveted on what he was saying, then that
He was
stayed.
onto something.
And if
Yeah.
if the kids and the wife are looking around like, yeah,
Whatever.
out, cut.
That's very clever though, right? It's interesting, asking people for feedback, especially when they're close to you. I think they always want to give positive feedback.
Yes.
So watching body language is actually a super smart idea.
Oh, without having that confrontational
Mm.
criticism that people just dread. But, I say to everyone, and this is a warning to all the incredible spark women out there, if you can't take criticism, don't come with me on this journey because I'm ruthless,
Oh,
you know.
I love that though. I was literally just having this conversation with my husband about especially when you're in a leadership position,
Yeah,
people just want to say, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea,"
yeah,
and you
yeah.
you learn nothing from that.
Exactly. And I always say I dish it out, but I can take it.
Mm.
And that's how I was brought up. Like I did have an incredible upbringing. My dad was a genius and spoke 6 languages, even though our
Wow.
background was Scottish. So we didn't have a second language at home. But he
Mm.
spoke 6 languages and was the first policeman in Queensland to have a degree.
Oh wow,
And he
awesome.
hated the police force, I have to say. He really, in those days, it was extremely corrupt and
Mm.
this is in Queensland, just before the Fitzgerald
Oh
inquiry,
God.
and
Wow.
incredible. But yeah, and he ended up when he retired, he was head of ASIO. So yeah, and he knew everyone's secrets, and that's what drives me more than anything. Is
Mm.
my dad died without telling his stories.
Yeah.
I want to say to everybody, whether it's your dad or your granddad or your grandma, tell their stories, get them down.
Mm.
Because,
Mm.
all of a sudden later in life, I've noticed boomers are all looking at, family histories and doing that because for some reason it's like you need to have this idea of heritage.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, And it's like, okay, well, just do it. Don't
Mm.
leave it till it's too late because, well, as I keep saying, there's nothing worse than loss except
Yeah.
regret.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Mm.
So we have the course, we have the one-on-one platinum or the
Yeah.
group platinum. We're then
Yeah.
thinking retreats. Now,
Yes.
you've been talking about tech. Talk to me about what the tech component is.
Okay, so with Remember Press, what they get is a fully formatted book building tool. It's like this,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's like this big template where you can upload your text and
Hmm.
your photographs, and it's formatted. You don't,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
it's as few decisions as it's humanly possible to do.
Mm.
And then when you've set up the chapters and all of that, very, very, very streamlined and easy. Then, if you're happy, press a button, you get sent a beautiful a proof copy,
Hmm.
a hard copy. You also get, as part of the system, a soft copy link to the ebook and a QR code to share.
Oh,
So
amazing.
it's really easy to share this book anywhere you like, and that started out because like that's what I was doing with Daryl's book. I thought, let's stick a QR code on his gravestone.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting idea.
I know, and you could go through a graveyard and click on all these QR codes and read these people's histories.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
Yeah, we got to do it. We just got to do it.
That's such a clever idea. I mean, you think about it, I feel like, you see in movies people going to see their loved ones, and you think
Yeah,
about that. Well, we have all of these spaces of graves and they're just there. No one's visiting them, no one's understanding about it. You just drive past them and think, that's a cemetery. But what if you could go in and actually listen to the stories?
I
That's
know,
wow, that's
I
super
know.
cool.
And
Mm.
that's down that, the track is, yes, we're going to use AI to
Yes.
to allow people to um set up, the actual person telling their story. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
AI.
cool. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing like futuristic, you're walking in and like the holograms of the person
Yes.
like coming up. That's so cool. I love that. All right,
Oh,
you need
no.
to make that happen. That's
Oh,
great.
absolutely. Dreams, but it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So, yeah. So that's what they get. And they can get as many printed hard copies as they like, and it's miles cheaper than and in fact it's a better deal than Amazon, because Amazon still take royalties.
Oh yeah, they're so
You know,
expensive.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
Mm.
And there's no royalties. So all you pay for is the printing and shipping of your books. That's it.
That's so
You know.
good. I love that. So
Yeah.
what's it been like being a woman in technology and building a tech business?
Fucking difficult.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah, and honestly, Danielle, we all do, don't we? We all do
Mm,
as women. We face sexism all our lives, and
mm.
often from other women, which staggers me.
Yeah,
You
it's so
know, they'll,
frustrating.
oh, it is. They blow
Mm.
you off, but they'll listen to a stupid man say crap for hours and go, oh, that's so wonderful. Oh, look,
Yeah.
truly, yeah. So it has. It's been so challenging.
Mm.
And I've been through two incubation cohorts, one with,
Okay.
yeah, both great. One with Enterprise in Hobart through the government, and then Blackbird Giants, of course, out of
Ah,
Sydney and
cool.
Melbourne. Yeah, got some great mentors. But at the same time, in that, with the admin, I faced sexism and ageism.
Really.
Yeah. And that pissed me off. It's like, you know what? I'm just over this.
Mm.
So, but
It's just really frustrating, isn't it? Because I guarantee you there's no one who's 20 who has this idea. You have the experience of your career, of a lived experience, and that's how you've come to this idea. And you just need a little support on the thing you don't have experience with, which is the tech or, whatever it might
yeah,
be.
yeah.
And yet there's this discrimination that goes on.
I know, and well, it's just typical, isn't it? And it's
Mm,
shockingly unfair. But I,
mm.
I guess I keep saying to myself, just put your big girl pants on,
Yeah.
Chrissy, and get
Yeah.
moving. Just
Yeah, I know, and it's
yeah.
so frustrating, and I agree with you. So I remember, so my other business, Scrunch, if anyone listening, is a tech business. We built a piece of software. I remember the first networking event I walked into was a room full of men. I think there was three girls, and I will never forget this experience of this guy who was drinking a beer. And as he spoke, he was like spitting and he
Oh,
was like, "Oh, a blonde woman in tech, I don't think this is, you'll never make it." And I like marched out of that room and I was like, "I'll show you."
yeah, eat my
But
dust. Yeah.
oh, I was just furious. And I was like, fortunately, I'm the type of person that takes setback as motivation and fuel. But I'm
Mm.
like, how many people go, it's too hard, or, I'm not, no one's going to take me seriously, and kind of put their dreams on hold because they do face all of these obstacles.
Oh, look, absolutely. And but I guess in a way, I have been toughened up throughout my life because I
Mm.
started out learning ballet at 3.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I was on stage for all my young life. Then I became a TV star as a kid. I used to sing and dance.
Excuse me, what?
As
What's TV star? Talk to me about this.
Well, like this is a long time ago. This is in the 60s, like early 60s. I was a TV star and I used to sing and dance on Cotty's Happy Hour, which was the
This is so
format,
cool.
forerunner of Johnny Young's Talent Time.
Hmm.
And I was earning more than my dad, you know,
Wow.
at 12, like, yeah. But anyway, but then and I loved that. I
Mm,
really, I really did. It gave me this huge creative outlet, which I just adored.
mm,
But then, I became a professional actress, and then, I ended up leaving that because I didn't like mixing with other actors a lot of the time because in those days they acted 24/7, which just gave me the shits.
yeah.
For me, it was a job.
Mm,
Give me the script, I'll learn the script, and I'll go and do the role. Like that's
yeah.
it. I don't need to act 24/7. But anyway, yeah, and I went teaching or barmaiding and did all sorts of stuff in those days,
Mm,
but then went teaching and 2 degrees, and I hated teaching. It wasn't me.
yeah.
I was, and my one of my lecturers at Teachers College told me, he said, "You won't last, you're a free spirit." He said, "I can set you up with a job lecturing at university here when you graduate." Because I was a mature student. I was married when I was doing this. And I said, "No, no, I've got to go teaching, I've got to change the world." Like, I lasted 2 terms. I hated
Oh,
it. Anyway, but you know what I ended up doing? I started my first restaurant as a female owner chef, and I had 10 successful restaurants over 25 years.
wow.
Yeah, and I think that just toughened me up because, as like almost everyone's kitchen handed or waitress or whatever through uni or
Mm.
whatever as a part-time job, and that toughens you up. It's a tough business.
Oh, yeah, but owning a restaurant, that's way tougher than waitressing in a restaurant. My God.
Oh, it was, and staff did stuff to me they'd never dream of doing to a guy. Because what's a woman going to
Mm,
do? Beat them up? I
yeah.
don't think so.
Mm,
But and I had 3 contracts at Expo 88. That was just massive. So
wow.
yeah, and like for me, I have this massive business background. And I set up the first fashion factory outlet in Tassie, which is still going.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Small change. But yeah, and I've lived in Japan for 2 years and taught over there and lived in Malaysia. So, I just want to say to all these gorgeous women in Spark, don't hold back. Just
Mm,
grab life by the shoulders and shake it.
mm,
And just look for opportunities. And yeah, don't bumble in, feet first. Do your homework.
of course.
Yeah, do your planning and everything, but just go for it.
Mm,
And we all face obstacles, but It's like, yeah, as I said to one guy in the incubation cohort, I said, just eat my dust, you know.
I love that. I love that. You're like, just watch me. Just watch this.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be
Oh,
global. Remember, press will be global, and you know, I do. I want it to be the publishing site that everyone goes to if they want to
mm,
self-publish. The one, you
I
know.
love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the one.
That's incredible. What's next in terms of development? Can somebody go on there now and get it done, or is it in the infancy phase? Where are you up to for all of the
Where
people listening in that are like, oh my God, I need to go here right now?
well, you can go to the busy page. That's there. The writing course is there. But remember, press is probably a couple of weeks still away from MVP launch
Cool.
because the book building tool has been massive.
Yeah. Oh God.
Um,
And when you said you were building that, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
the coding has been exceptional, and then
Mm,
there's the UX and the whole, you know, customer journey and
mm,
all of that, you know, the payment gateways and stuff, and that's
yes.
being set up at the moment. So the book building tool is sort of ready, but getting into there and everything. So you know, and I've held off
Wow.
launching until it's ready, and because I don't want to burn early adopters, you know, and that's
Yeah, of course.
I mean, and that's one of the things that irritated me in the incubation cohorts, because
Mm,
all these guys in the tech industry keep saying, just put something together and launch, you know, just
mhm.
and I would say no, I don't want to burn early adopters. I think
Yeah.
that's why so many tech startups fail.
I could not agree with you more. There's a fine line between getting something out there that's not perfect and shipping crap.
Yes.
And you're so right. There's so many industries. If you say to a customer, come and use my thing, and it's early and it is crap, it actually impacts their life. I think about that from a scrunch point of view. We sell to marketers. I'm like, if I don't enhance their life and make their job easier, they will hate me and never pay me again. You can't just go, just accept it with all of its flaws. Some flaws, absolutely. But when it is a tech business that's supposed to solve a problem, you do have to be a little bit careful, I think.
Yeah, it has to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, and what we've been investigating printing companies as well, and that's been
Mm.
really hard to do.
Mm.
Like, yeah, and we so didn't want to have to go offshore, but it looks like we might have to just purely for price
Yeah.
because the
And
print.
well, and you have to be able to offer that benefit to the end consumer as
Yeah,
well. And we don't
yeah.
do everything fabulously here.
No, well,
I'll get
exactly.
cancelled for saying that, but.
Yeah, and we don't, and we've
Mm.
tested them out, and you know, and this is what it's taken 4 years, Danielle, to get here.
Wow.
Really,
Yeah.
because we test religiously, endlessly,
Mm.
and
Mm.
yeah, and we're still testing. Well, actually, I'll show you the book. Daryl's.
Oh, cool.
This is Daryl's book, right? This is yeah, and it is.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's his photo. He was an amazing guy. Flew in a helicopter down to the south of Tassie to strip a Jeep because he used to recycle from his
Oh, that's
dad.
gorgeous.
And there's I mean it's colour as well. There's a lot of colour photos but that's him there.
Wow.
That's Darryl.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the format of the book that we're starting with.
Yep.
And then, like we're developing you know, a novel sort of soft copy, soft cover as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what we're beginning with. Just one size fits all. Beautiful, beautiful format, glossy pages, you know, like just easy layout,
I
everything.
love it.
Yeah. So anyway, but the printing,
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, I think, as well, isn't it? People say the words just ship it. But when you're in, a business that has all of those different steps from a technology point of view, you've got to get a customer in, they've got to be developing something, there's a physical output. You
yeah,
can't just, yeah, I don't know. It's a
yeah.
fine line, I think, between shipping things and getting things right.
Oh, absolutely. And it's why I ended up doing the busy page because
Mm,
I keep telling everyone, look, don't worry about publishing just yet. You know,
Mm.
write the damn book first. Get it done.
Yeah.
Get it
Yes.
written. Just
Yes.
use Word or Pages,
Yes.
and as you know, with Pages, you can use a microphone, so you can just talk and it'll transcribe. You know, which is going to be fantastic for aged care facilities because that's where I'm desperate to
Yeah.
get into. You know,
That's a great idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
to provide it as a service, you know, because it's so
Mm.
cheap. It's so cheap. Like we charge like it's a subscription, okay?
Mm.
And there's 3 tiers. And the first tier is $49 a month, you
Yep.
know? And then, you know, of course you pay for the book as well, but you still pay way less than any other because you own it. You know,
Mm.
there's no royalties going out to anyone else but you know,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
this is what I'm obsessed with.
Yes.
It's the user journey and the
Mm.
writer. I want writers to really feel ownership of what they've got.
Mm.
You don't have that with the publishing company. You
Well,
don't.
no, and it just makes me think about so many creative industries, even like musicians who lose all so much of their revenue to the distribution and the publishers and the agents and the this and the that. It is, I didn't think about it before, but I guess that's the same with authors. If you have a publishing deal, a book deal, or if you're self-publishing, Amazon's
Yeah,
taking half the money.
I
Like,
know.
yeah, why
100%.
do creatives get all of their money taken away from them?
I know, because you know, because it's all about big business.
Mm,
It really is. And that's one of the things I learned at Expo 88 because my 3 contracts at Expo 88 were enormous. And it was
mm.
through the Rath Industries, which is a massive American business from New York. Robert Rath flew out in his Learjet and
Wow.
flew us up to Noosa and we holidayed and partied and all that sort of thing because my boyfriend at the time was his vice president.
I love that.
Emmett
You have
Cunningham.
excellent taste,
I
clearly.
know, yes, and Emmett had a presidential appointment at the White House and everything, like so interesting. But Rath Industries build expos. That's what they do. They
Yeah.
build expos around the world, right? That's their big thing. And
Mm.
Robert inherited money, like he owns the Gotham City restaurant in New York. You know, he owns
Wow.
blocks in New York. Um, but the thing is, the way they did business disgusted me. It
Mm.
was ruthless, and the
Yeah.
dollar is king. And it's one of the things that, you know, I do want to say to everyone here, watch out. If you are doing business in the US on any level, be
Mm.
careful.
Yeah.
Know that it's all about the deal. Here, it's still all about the relationship. But in the
Mm.
US, it's all about the deal and it is ruthless. So you
Mm.
just have to, and they'll just walk away because they think you're weak. You know,
Mm.
it's like you've got to be prepared to walk away too.
Yeah.
You really do. Yeah. And that was what I learned in Expo 88. So that's a, you know, massive business lesson that I took with me.
Mm.
Yeah. So and look, I will be in the States. I've got a lot of connections in the US.
Mm.
But you know, I'm going to make sure that I keep control. Um,
Yeah.
and it's always still headquartered here in Australia because I'm passionately Australian. You
Well,
know?
and I do love that because I think that's another thing that you kind of get taught at some point, especially in tech startups, is that, well, you've got to be in America because that's where the
Yeah.
the
Money.
size is, the scale is.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe we don't. Or,
Exactly.
maybe, and it's that always something that always interests me, and especially I'm interested because you've been through the incubators. There is that relentless scale at all costs. Everything has to be bigger and better and empire. And don't get me wrong, I want to take over the world. I'm
Yeah.
definitely in that camp, but
Yeah.
I don't think everybody does. I think that there are plenty of people who want to build a business that supports a lifestyle that they want, and that is great. Do
Mm.
that. You don't have to, you're not failing because you're not entering the US market or raising capital or doing this or doing that.
Oh, look, totally. I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, and it is. It's like, yeah, just smell the roses. Take time and smell the
Mm,
roses, like because life is bloody short.
mm,
I will never forget sitting with Dad in the nursing home and it was and he was 80, right?
mm.
And he looked at me and he said, Tina, I blinked and I'm 80.
Wow.
That's how it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
it,
God. Puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So
I
yeah.
love it. Christine, you and I could talk all day. So why don't we leave the beautiful sparks with one last piece of advice? If there's anything that any piece of advice that you have learned over the years and would offer up to a fabulous woman in business, what would it be?
Oh, I know. And it's something I keep doing in my videos is find your eagle and your lighthouse.
Your eagle and your
Your
lighthouse. You're going to have
lighthouse.
to explain.
Okay. So, and it could be both in the one person. I have a coach, of course. We all have coaches. Coaching's the big thing now for
Mhm.
very good reason because the
Mm,
okay, the eagle, what are we? We are the mice down on the forest floor. That's what we're doing. We're running around,
yep.
scrabbling for a feed, trying to find stuff and doing our business. And we're so involved in it, our heads down and bums up.
Yep.
The eagle has this oversight, right?
Mm,
It's flying around. It can see the entire forest, right? But it can also, zero in with its eagle eye
hmm
to the mouse and see what you're doing from a distance and up close. So it's if you can find someone who can do that, and then like that's gold, honestly.
Yeah.
So always look for that mentor or support person who's outside you but supportive at the same time, who've got that ability to see the big picture and the little picture at the same time. The
Mm.
lighthouse, of course, shines the light on your pathway so you don't hit the rocks.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Find those support people. That is beautiful. Christine, thank you so much for being here on Spark TV.
Oh,
You are absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful to share your story.
oh, my pleasure. Have a wonderful day, Daniel. I'm going to look up Scrunch straight away. We need you.
Good.